So now next one is Trud Holmquist of ATC Industrial Group. Welcome to Ecosummit.
Thank you. Hello everyone. It has been a long day. I hope to keep you awake during my presentation that starts now, exactly 8 minutes. My name is Trud Holmquist. I represent ATC Industrial Group, where we have developed SIFO. SIFO is a self-learning home energy management system. We work with an adaptive system. In reality, that means that we can provide what we refer to as comfort on demand to our end users. We target single-family houses, at least in our first releases. And the system is using a neural network technology. Actually, we use a neural network technology dedicated for each installation. And this neural network technology establishes a thermodynamic profile for each building. It actually replaces the existing control curve with this new algorithm that is more taking into consideration the unique specifics of the building. So, for example, we measure the delta value of the building and also the capacity of the heating system. And this enables us to increase the comfort. The end user has a simple solution. They actually only set the target temperature that they want to have at a certain time. And then the system calculates when to start to increase or when to start to heat or cool the building in order to reach the desired temperature at a certain time. In Sweden, we have reached up to 30% savings for single-family houses. We believe that the potential is even greater in the rest of Europe, considering that the buildings in Sweden and in the Nordics are quite well insulated, so the thermal mass is quite high. So we believe that we don't know how much. We haven't done any pilots yet outside of the Nordics, but we believe the potential is quite high, actually. When we started the project almost 4 years ago, we started out with doing quite a lot of interviews. We had some clear views on what we wanted to achieve, and we had also some clear choices when it came to technologies. What we didn't know, but that we did know after the interviews, was that most of the customers, they didn't want an additional interface. They wanted to use their existing ones, like the mobile phone or the laptop. So we don't introduce any displays or anything. We use instead the existing user interfaces. So in the first release, we will start selling this, commercial sales, this winter actually. We will support browser-based user interfaces, iOS and Android to start with. The system in itself is quite simple. You have a gateway. That's where you have the logic, and you have a couple of sensors that we install in the indoor environment. One of them is also dedicated for outdoor temperature measuring. They communicate wirelessly with a gateway that we install next to the heating or cooling source. We use a retrofit, actually patented retrofit technology that differs slightly from the previous company. We actually communicate through the sensor using resistance as a communication protocol. This enables us to more or less retrofit towards any kind of heating or cooling system actually in the world. It's quite simple for the end user, but behind the scenes, it's quite advanced technologies we use. For example, in the local environment, we communicate via machine-to-machine to the central servers. The first MVP we did was actually a server in the local environment. We wanted to verify the control algorithms and the control technology. We have now separated the logic, so we have the heavy processing going on central servers, and we have a quite thin client environment in the local building. The sensors are communicating via radio. We have a very modular approach, so we can support more or less any kind of communication protocol. And we have the user interfaces for the users. Some of the changes we see over time is that we will introduce additional services. We consider the system more a platform than a dedicated heating or cooling service. So we have prepared it to be able to handle quite a lot of future services. We haven't decided which one we will launch after the initial heating control, but it might be intelligent demand response. It's quite interesting for quite a lot of the Swedish utilities. And what makes SIFO different? Well, I think you are all very aware of that there are a lot of competitors in this area, a lot of four-letter combinations actually. You have the Nest, you have also Tadoo, and you have the Hive that launched a couple of weeks ago or a couple of days ago. These are some of the differentiators. We have comfort on demand. We have a patented retrofit technology. We can install this in any kind of environment in actually less than 1 hour. We use installation firms for that to reduce the potential support cost over time. We have M2M communication. My background is from, I built one of the largest internet banks in the Nordics. I also was in charge and built national infrastructure for electronic IDs and electronic signatures. So I decided very early on not to be dependent upon the LAN connection, the end user's internet connection, because that was in itself the single most cost driver for support cost. Instead, we use machine-to-machine communication. It increases the redundancy quite a lot, actually. This is an infrastructure we're rolling out. It also increases the coverage. Not all countries have a high internet or a broadband connectivity, so we can reach out to much more people using machine-to-machine. We have also used OTA over there, compatible clients from day one, so we can actually more or less we could centrally from central servers distribute totally new firmware to all our clients, which is quite unique, not only partially but full 100%. And we also have a platform architecture that is quite unique. We consider this to be a platform for future services. We work with channel partners. Initially, we will work purely with direct sales because we like to have the relationship with the customers, so we can feed the feedback back to our development. So we have quite a lot of release planning where we have left a lot of space to be able to feed the further development based on the customers' reactions. But we also have a close cooperation with telcos. We have had proof of concept with utilities the last couple of years. And eventually we're looking also to have relationships with system suppliers, but also with real estate owners. Business model, simple. We have an upfront payment for hardware and a subscription fee for the software. And we are looking for growth capital of approximately 2.5 million euros, and we're offering 20% of the stake in the company. And the round is closing in the end of 2013. I'm sorry I was a bit late. Questions?
Do you have a question for Trud?
Rolf Adam Cisco. I'm always baffled by the massive amount of startups in that space. You probably could compile a list of the 100 most prominent or most featured ones and still have about 200 or 300 left on a global scale. Where do you see the end game heading? Because I'm still struggling to see the winning game, the winning type of company set up in that space.
It's interesting. We have our own structure for looking at competitors. So we have, it's like a pyramid. You have the basic visualization services, probably about 1,000, at least 1,000 plus companies worldwide. And then you have some kind of remote control without any logic, probably a couple of hundreds worldwide. And then you introduce some kind of logic. It might be very simple logic like timer-based logic. You have that, not that many, maybe it's less than 100 actually. And then adaptive technologies, it's very difficult to say. It might be 5, it might be 10. It's not that many, actually. A lot of the companies, they say they have adaptive technologies. So it's, we trust that when we do the, the competitive analysis. But it's very, very difficult to say. And who will be the winner in the end? Well, of course, SIFO. So I'm sorry. Yeah.